When it comes to monthly survival in South Africa, knowing the exact dates and schedules for your SASSA SRD R370 payment is more than just useful, it's a lifeline. The South African Social Security Agency has now officially confirmed the August 2025 payment schedule for the R370 Social Relief of Distress (SRD) grant, and this is the update many people have been waiting for. With food prices, electricity tariffs, and transport costs rising, every rand counts, and clarity on when your money will reflect in your account helps you plan with confidence. For many households, the R370 grant isn't just extra support, it's the difference between putting food on the table or going without. That's why today's update is so important. In August 2025, SASSA has streamlined the payment rollout to make sure beneficiaries experience fewer delays and less confusion. The agency has stressed that payments will follow a structured schedule, and while processing times may vary depending on which bank you use, the announced dates will give you a clear idea of when to expect your grant. Another critical point is that SASSA continues to emphasize the need for up-to-date banking details and verification. Many beneficiaries still face delays due to mismatched information or incomplete verification checks. This is why it's vital to make sure your details with SASSA are correct, because one small error could push your payment back by weeks. On top of that, there's been ongoing discussion about whether the R370 grant amount might be reviewed later this year due to South Africa's cost of living crisis. While no official increase has been confirmed yet, government officials have acknowledged the pressure many households are under. That makes it even more crucial to keep up with accurate information and not fall for false news circulating on social media. So, in this video, we'll break down the exact payment dates for August 2025, explain how the schedule will work across different banks, highlight common reasons for delays, and share the steps you can take to avoid missing your payment. If you rely on the SRD grant, or know someone who does, this update is going to help you prepare, plan, and stay ahead. Now that we have set the stage, let's go into the full details of what the August 2025 SASSA SRD R370 payment schedule really looks like and why this month's update carries such importance for millions of South Africans. To begin with, SASSA has been under pressure for months to not only ensure that the payments are on time but also that beneficiaries can clearly understand the rollout dates without confusion. For many seniors and unemployed citizens, one of the biggest frustrations has always been the uncertainty, wondering whether the money will reflect this week or the next, checking the bank app every morning, or queuing at the ATM only to find no funds available. With the August schedule now confirmed, SASSA has promised that payments will start reflecting on specific dates depending on the banking process, which should bring a level of consistency people can depend on. It's important to remember that while SASSA announces official payment dates, the way banks process those payments can make a huge difference in when you actually receive your R370. For example, some banks like Capitec, Standard Bank, and FNB often reflect payments quickly once released, while others may take a day or two longer depending on system clearance times. This means two people could be scheduled on the same date, but one might see the money instantly while the other waits until the following morning. SASSA has acknowledged this difference and urges beneficiaries to always allow up to 3 working days after the official payment date before becoming concerned about a missing payment. Another aspect worth discussing is why these grants are structured and rolled out in this particular way. South Africa has millions of beneficiaries across different categories: old age pensions, disability grants, child support grants, and the Social Relief of Distress grant, which is the R370 many unemployed South Africans rely on. To avoid overwhelming bank systems and retail pay points, SASSA spreads out payments by categories. This prevents technical crashes, overcrowding at ATMs, and ensures the process runs smoothly. For August 2025, the SRD payments will once again follow after the pension and disability grant dates, creating a staggered and predictable flow. What makes this month especially interesting is the broader discussion happening around the future of the R370 grant itself. For years, civil society groups and economists have argued that the amount is simply too low to sustain even the most basic cost of living. With bread prices, maize meal, and cooking oil seeing sharp increases since the start of 2025, the reality is that R370 barely stretches to cover more than a week's groceries for a small household. Many advocacy groups continue to call for the grant to be converted into a permanent basic income support payment, suggesting that government should increase it closer to a 500 or even more. While Treasury has often pushed back, citing budget limitations, the truth is that pressure is mounting, and many South Africans are watching closely for any indication that changes could come before the end of the year. When speaking to ordinary people on the ground, the stories are the same everywhere. A grandmother in Soweto explains that the R370 she receives goes directly into buying maize meal, cooking oil, and a small pack of chicken pieces to feed her grandchildren. By the second week, the cupboards are empty again, and she relies on borrowing from neighbors or credit at local spaza shops to survive until the next payment. A young man in KwaZulu-Natal says the grant helps him pay for taxi fare while he continues searching for work, but the amount is never enough to cover job hunting costs and daily food. These real experiences highlight why clarity on payment dates is not just about convenience, but about survival. People need to know exactly when to expect the funds so they can make arrangements in advance. SASSA, for its part, has been trying to modernize its communication systems. More beneficiaries are now receiving SMS notifications when payments are released, and the agency has been active in warning people against fake news on social media. One of the biggest risks for vulnerable communities is falling victim to scams where fraudsters promise to fast-track payments in exchange for money, or where people are tricked into sharing personal details that lead to their accounts being drained. By keeping updated with official SASSA announcements, beneficiaries can avoid being misled and focus on planning around the real confirmed schedule. There's also been a growing conversation about the impact of delayed verifications. Many first-time applicants or people who recently changed their banking details find themselves waiting longer than expected for approval. The verification process involves checking ID numbers against home affairs, verifying income with banks, and confirming that applicants are not receiving other state support that would disqualify them. While these checks are meant to protect the system from abuse, they often create bottlenecks, leaving genuine applicants stranded without support for weeks or even months. For August 2025, SASSA has promised improvements to speed up this process, with new digital systems expected to cut waiting time significantly. One crucial thing to note is that while the SRD grant is most commonly associated with unemployed youth, a growing number of senior citizens also apply for it, particularly those who are not yet of age to qualify for the older person's grant but who have lost work opportunities due to the struggling economy. This overlap means that seniors are not only interested in pension payment dates but also in SRD updates, making it vital for information to be presented in a clear and accessible way. The August 2025 schedule takes into account the high demand across different age groups, which is why it has been spread out to reduce pressure on payment systems. Let's also touch on how payment dates are usually structured month by month. Typically, the first few days of the month are reserved for pensioners and disability grants, followed by child support grants, and then the SRD payments roll out after those categories have been processed. In August, this same model is being followed, and it allows seniors who receive pensions to collect their money without having to compete with long lines of SRD beneficiaries. This structure has been refined over years of trial and error, and while no system is perfect, it has proven to reduce chaos compared to earlier years when all grants were released on the same day. For beneficiaries using retail outlets like ShopRite, Checkers, Boxer, or Pick n Pay to withdraw their funds, it's essential to remember that queues can still get long, especially in the first 2 days after SRD payments start reflecting. That's why SASSA always advises people not to rush to collect immediately if they do not urgently need the funds, because the money will remain in the account until withdrawn. Still, for many who live hand to mouth, waiting even one extra day is not an option, which is why early mornings often see the busiest crowds. The August schedule announcement is designed to give everyone a fair opportunity to plan their collection day. Beyond the immediate practicalities of payment schedules, there is a deeper conversation about how grants impact the broader South African economy. Economists often point out that while the SRD grant may seem small, the sheer scale of its distribution pumps billions of rand into local economies every month. Spaza shops, taxi operators, and small businesses all benefit when beneficiaries spend their money in local communities. In rural areas especially, the R370 has become a cornerstone of economic activity, and any delay in payments can ripple out to affect local trade. By keeping the August schedule stable, SASSA is not only helping individuals but also ensuring small economies do not face sudden shocks. The agency has also reminded people that they can check their payment status online through the official SASSA portal. This digital shift has been encouraged to reduce overcrowding at SASSA offices, where long queues have been a persistent problem. For seniors who may not be comfortable with online systems, family members or community volunteers often step in to assist. This highlights the importance of community networks in making the grant system work effectively. In many neighborhoods, younger people help the elderly by checking statuses, assisting with withdrawals, and making sure they are not exposed to scammers or criminals who prey on pensioners after withdrawal days. And as we continue through this video, we'll unpack the full list of August payment rollout days, explain exactly how banks handle the process, discuss what to do if your payment is delayed, and highlight the official channels you should use to stay updated. Because at the end of the day, accurate information is the most valuable tool we can share. It keeps people safe, prevents panic, and helps communities manage their daily struggles with dignity.